Hi, my name is Mike. Forgive me, I don't normally do this, but I'm in these Myasthenia Gravis Facebook groups, and I just feel like a video would make it easier to share my story in hopes that it helps you. So I put together a PowerPoint, just kind of highlighting the timeline, things I did, time of symptoms, time of diagnosis, dietary changes. But long story short, I have no symptoms now, but at my worst, I was probably like most of you. Never needed oxygen or breathing tube or anything like that, but did have labored breathing, difficulty swallowing, um, couldn't even hold a utensil, couldn't pick up my infant, um, really couldn't do much of anything, right? So most of you know what it's like. Oh, eye, of course, shut. Now it's fine. But one eye closed. If I managed to get both open, complete double vision, couldn't drive. So the list goes on. Everybody knows what that is like. I don't know how long all of you have had it, of course. Looks like many of you for many, many years, just constant suffering. Myself, we'll look at my timeline. It was, I don't know, 4 or 5 months before I got to where I'm at, from the point of first symptoms being very mild to very extreme to no symptoms at all. Maybe 5 months, but once we get in the timeline, we'll see. So I'm making this video so that hopefully it helps some of you, and possibly you can achieve what I did. Most of which was dietary, some fasting, and of course I did do the traditional route of having a neurologist with some immunosuppressants and mestinon for a short period of time. Tapering off the immunosuppressants now. It's a long tapering process, or at least I'm tapering off the prednisone, still on Cellcept. I believe he wants to keep me on that for a year, maybe 2 years. So call it a year and a half, maybe. But yeah, here we go. So at my worst, as I explained, all of that, extreme double vision, couldn't hold a cup of coffee or utensil. Examples, I'm sure you can all relate. Can't even pull the dishwasher door down or open doors without a two-hand struggle. Labored breathing, difficulty swallowing, 2 ER visits, probably about 5 nights between the two that I stayed overnight. Originally, I went to the ER. Well, we'll get into that actually. Timeline. August 22nd, that's my estimated date of when I first started noticing double vision. It was during a time when I was moving from St. Louis County out to a more rural area, just trying to get the family out to a small town. So a lot of stress during that period. I was in the middle of heavy lifting, packing stuff up, which is not uncommon for me. I was always pretty active and currently am very active, athletic, fit, pretty good diet, but I'll go into that. Anyhow, high stress period, dead heat of summer, moving stuff. Woke up one day, vision was just a touch off, couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. And then during heavy lifting, after a while, I noticed my left hand just started kind of giving out randomly. Thought it was maybe some heat exhaustion, laid down, everything passed. And then periodically over the next couple of days, these things just kept happening. So went to the eye doctor, said, hey, something's wrong with my eyes, because the weakness, I think, only happened really just once at that time. And the optometrist or ophthalmologist, can't recall, said, hey, you just turned 40, you're farsighted. You need glasses. I was a little skeptical, but bought the glasses because I thought I'll get some of that blue film because I do sit at a desk a lot, and figured wouldn't hurt to have a little correction. So $500 or so later, got a pair of glasses that did not help. Gave it a few weeks before challenging the diagnosis. Eventually went to my nurse practitioner for my primary care. Looks like I forgot to include this, but they told me I had vertigo. I accepted that for a while, did the exercises for vertigo, still didn't seem right, went back. She ordered an MRI, waited a couple weeks for that appointment. It was rejected by the insurance and resubmitted through the nurse practitioner. Waited a couple more weeks for that appointment, once again rejected. So we lost about a month there. And after the rejection, then I decided to admit myself or go to the ER. And then they ordered testing if I admitted myself. So I admitted myself to the ER and did a bunch of testing the next day. So let's see, we're at October 8th for that. I think I just stayed one night then and had a neurologist assigned. And then the test for myasthenia gravis was one of two things that he suspected. As you know, that can take some time for that to come back. He also ordered a nerve conduction study, which took many, many weeks to get. So that was October 19th. So we started late August. Now we're in October. So September, October, we're about 2 months in. Let's go to the next slide here. October 20th, looks like that's when I got my, you all know these terms better than I do, myasthenia gravis evaluation with MuSK reflex. Returned positive 0.95. I think it's supposed to be close to 0. It's very high. But you can see that on this slide here, or this section here. October 24th, that's when I started messing on. I still haven't gotten a myasthenia gravis specialist. It's just a general neurologist and a neurologist for the eyes as well. So both of those assigned. Started me on Mestinon October 24th as I waited for my WashU myasthenia gravis specialist. WashU is a prominent hospital here in St. Louis or the Midwest. And I had an appointment scheduled for that specialist. However, it was taking a long time. Condition was worsening, so I decided to go to the ER where at the hospital that this specialist team worked, so that I can potentially see his team the next day and get all the testing done prior to my first appointment, which I recommend all of you do. Instead of waiting for all these tests, it takes a long time, many, many months. If you just admit yourself to the ER at the hospital where the doctor resides that you wish to see that specializes in this, if you do that, you'll get expedited testing done in a matter of a few days versus waiting many months for your condition to worsen. Ask any nurse. I think they'll tell you, yeah, that's a good strategy. So admitted myself through that hospital where his team resided, saw them the next day, got all the testing done they wanted so that come my first appointment with the specialist, all the information was present and he could proceed with treatment. So that appointment was on December 14th. They already got me on a treatment plan prior to my appointment with prednisone, and I don't think Cellcept yet. I think that was at my first appointment. So they started titrating me on prednisone, titrating up, told me to continue. Actually, I'll go into that's another slide, so I'll wait. But at this time of December 14th, I was at 25 milligrams with mild progress. And he started me on Cellcept at that time. Didn't quite start Cellcept then. It took about 10 days. There was an issue with the prescription. So call it right around Christmas is when I started Cellcept, Christmas or New Year's. But like I said, I was making some progress. There was some noticeable improvement, but by no means was I back to my normal self. And come January, so backing up, I've always known that should I get a condition, autoimmune, cancer, something like that, I would pursue what's called functional health. Um, and it's where they look for root causes, whereas institutional medicine tends to just manage symptoms. Not bad, I do recommend symptom management while you attempt to resolve the issue, get to the underlying cause. But some of you likely know this, some of you don't. But 70% or 80% of our immune system resides in our gut. And so gut health is critical anytime there's a system failure, cancer, autoimmune, cold, you name it. It's because the immune system is not working properly. And if 70%, 80% of it is in your gut, then you should focus on what's going on in your gut. So it took me about a month to get in here, but January 25th was my first appointment at a place here in St. Louis called Palm Health. It's a private um, medical establishment. You pay out of pocket. It cost me about $6,000 for the year. Did it without thinking because I'm not okay with just accepting that this is my life moving forward. I don't like putting medicine in me. Never took medicine in my life, with exception to antibiotics a few times. Maybe some steroid in the past for poison ivy when I was a kid, but that is it. No vaccines since late teens. Nothing. I was never sick. It's a little odd that I got hit with this, given I lived a pretty healthy lifestyle. Very active, very athletic, 195 pounds, lean muscle, um, you name it. I was 40, could run 5 miles easily. So late January, January 25th, went there. They did some tests that traditional doctors do not, something called a gut zoomer. It's a stool sample. They send it in, they do an analysis. At that time, they identified a parasite along with many inflammatory markers in my gut, and inflammation is the root cause of most everything that we experience health-wise negatively. So I'll go into a deeper dive later, but that is what they determined. Did some more blood work that is not common, that insurance typically does not cover, and got me on some supplements, treated the parasite with an antibiotic, and we did an elimination diet as well. And on my own, I did some fasting. And the longest I went is 2 days. And then I would frequently, probably, I think it was 2 or 3 times a week, I would do intermittent. Sometimes it would just be a 12-hour fast. I'd have breakfast when I wake up and dinner. I also did frequent 24-hour fast. So basically, you eat before bed. You choose how you want to do it, but I would eat before bed and then not eat again until dinner the following day. Did that frequently, still do it. In fact, I'm doing a 24-hour today. I may decide to go 48 hours. But when you do a fast, you do the research on your own. I'll send you some references. I'll put references in this video description for you to watch. But your body does miraculous things in terms of recovery when you do fast. It allows your gut to heal. It allows everything to heal. It allows your body to kill cancer cells. The list goes on. I'm not going to try and speak on it like an expert. You can listen to those who are qualified on your own. But I think that my current state, where I'm at, is a testament to it. Feel free to say I'm wrong, but I'm doing good. So, as you can see, I'm free of all symptoms now, full strength. In fact, I feel better than I ever have in my entire life from the dietary change. And that dietary change consists of eliminating all processed foods. When I say all, I'm talking very extreme none. I eat none or ate none at that time. And eliminated all sugar, all processed sugar. The only sugar I would get naturally occurred in foods such as fruit. Eliminated all grains for that period. What else? I'll post the elimination diet here that I was on. You can see it. I have a slide with it, so I'll try not to get caught up here. But as of February 10th, symptoms were gone. It was about 2, maybe 3 weeks after starting the treatment of the parasite and the elimination diet. So, like I said, the prednisone was working a little bit, very, very, very slow. But as soon as I started the diet, excuse me, it was dramatic. And when I did the 48-hour fast at the roughly the 24-hour mark, I had this day of symptoms being entirely gone, and then once I ended the fast, the symptoms slowly came back. But I kept making dietary changes or stuck to the elimination diet. And in a matter of a few weeks from there, I was completely symptom free. So let's see here. I am at February 19th. I had a follow up with the nurse practitioner of the Myasthenia Gravis specialist. She was pretty shocked at my recovery and advised I discontinue Mestinon and begin tapering off the prednisone. At this time, I was at my max dose of 50 milligrams. April 21st. I made this presentation quite some time ago, so I've just been delaying recording this video. April 21st, still tapering down, alternating between. So this is like my current update. That slide's there. That date's no longer very relevant. I probably should have continued adding, but where I'm at, I'm still tapering, and I'll go into that tapering schedule here shortly. I already kind of covered this: medical history, health history. I really don't have a medical or health history other than I've been very healthy. No vaccines in 20 plus years. I understand some of you may gripe at that, thinking they're safe and effective. I will wholeheartedly disagree with you. And I know many of you in these Facebook groups for myasthenia gravis report having this condition onset or these symptoms onset post COVID-19 vaccination. I'll argue it's not even a vaccine. In fact, the courts already acknowledged that it is not a vaccine. It's a gene therapy, and I'd argue it's not even therapeutic. But no vaccines in 20 years. I ate, we'll call it an 80% organic diet, but I did have a major sweet tooth. Like I said, I was lean, fit, athletic. I didn't really care about the sweets. I enjoyed them. I was addicted, still am. It's a lifelong addiction. But for a long period of time, many, many months, I cut sugar out completely. I have it periodically now. I try and stick to, well, I do stick to organic cane sugar or coconut sugar. When I do, I try and make it no more than once a week. At that time, prior to this diagnosis or these symptoms, a lot of gluten, and I specify with glyphosate. Glyphosate is very toxic. That would be like Roundup treated crop. So I'm sure some of you know this. I mean, if you look over in Europe, especially Italy, they have no such thing as gluten intolerance. So my theory and the theory of many others is that it is not the gluten that gives us what we refer to as a gluten allergy. It is the glyphosate. And I would have to agree with that. I have no gut issues now, and I do consume gluten. I just make sure it's organic flour. My wife bakes all of our bread now. Should we have pizza, she bakes the crust. She creates it from scratch. So we do no store-bought breads whatsoever. I generally don't eat rice. I'll tend to just have quinoa. Organic everything. If you think organic is silly, I think it's silly that we have to label food organic versus we should be labeling things as GMO, genetically modified organisms. Organic is what our grandparents ate. It's just what food used to be. So I encourage all of you to eliminate all non-organic, all GMO, all glyphosate treated crop, herbicide treated crop. It's not meant for human consumption. It's not safe. Get away from it. Don't believe me? Make a full switch for a couple months. I think you'll see a dramatic change. So, as mentioned, athletic, exercise daily. At the time, I was under tremendous stress when the symptoms onset. I did not get adequate sleep for years, but I seldom felt tired, so I was cool with 5 hours of sleep on average. Never had trouble falling asleep. I just woke up early. As soon as my eyes opened, I was ready to get after the day. I would typically just wake up at 3:30 and get started, work out, and work on whatever project I was for a few hours before got dressed, got ready for work, got the kids up. As mentioned, medicine that I was on, Mestinon, at my worst, I was taking 120 milligrams every 3.5 hours. Did that from late October to mid February. Prednisone started at 5 milligrams daily, titrating up 5 milligrams every 5 to 7 days until I reached 50. That started around November 14th when I looked back at records. CellCept, once I finally met with the EMG specialist, he put me on 1,000 milligrams twice a day. Said it would take about 6 months for it to take effect. That started around December 25th. So, based on what he said, it should just now be taking effect because it is currently June 25th. And here is my titration off of prednisone. Should you just want to compare to what your doctor has had you do. I would also like to note I've had zero, and when I say zero, I mean no noticeable side effects to any of the medication. Um, I didn't experience anything. In fact, I lost a lot of weight during this period. I'm slowly putting it back on. I was about 195 when this started. Currently, I'm just almost 170. But I got down to the 150s. I was just a bag of bones. 6'1", almost 6'2", 155 pounds, I think, at my lowest. Weak as a kitten. We'll say I put on 15 since then, but I've basically gotten down to 0% body fat. I was probably at 5 to 7 prior to. But here's my titration off of prednisone. Currently, I'm at 25 milligrams. I'm probably a few days away from being down to 20 milligrams. So a lot of that was in 2-week intervals. It was alternating days. So currently I'm at 25 milligrams on, call it Monday, Tuesday, 0, Wednesday, 25, Thursday, 0, Friday, 25, and so on. Did that for 2 weeks. Once I get down to 20, he's going to keep me at that for 4 weeks, down to 15 for 4 weeks. Once again, every other day I'm at 0. And eventually 5, 0 for 4 weeks. After that, I don't really know. My guess is probably 2.5, 0. Not really sure. Once again, today is June 25th. All right, the gut Zoomer test. That was that stool sample that the functional health doctor put me or tested me for. They also did a lot of blood work that the traditional doctor doesn't do. I did not prepare that for this. I don't recall the analysis of it. It just helped them put me on supplements because it was quite clear that my system was not absorbing the nutrients that it needed to, even though I was putting them in me. So I wholeheartedly believe, and I think it's factual, that most, if not all of our diseases are a root of a nutrient deficiency or the deficiency of many nutrients. Our body is simply not absorbing them if we're putting them in or we're not taking them in. And I would argue it was both. I wasn't good with my vegetables or fruit. I just ate pretty clean. Now I'm incredibly good. I'll share more at the end. So I honestly can't read this very well. I don't know how to interpret much of this, but we got the Shannon's index. Looks like I'm supposed to be between 0 and, or it's a scale of 0 to 3. I should be greater than 2.5 or equal to. I was 1.7, so there's a deficit there. In gut diversity, according to the Simpson index, should be greater than 0.75. Looks like I just missed that, so we'll call me on the low end. My gut diversity was not balanced, it was low diversity. Don't know what all this means here. I'm not going to attempt to explain that. All of this, I am on the low end. Gut commercials, probably pronounced that wrong. Intestinal permeability, cardiovascular health, metabolic health, neurological health, IBD, irritable bowel disease. Long story short, my diversity was low. Gut health was low, wasn't where it should be. They suspected leaky gut. And then found a parasite. So parasites are at the root of a lot of things, even though institutional doctors won't say that, they're not taught that. But those that look for root causes, the parasites wreak havoc on the gut and the immune system, causing it to misbehave. And usually it is a major life stressor that creates the big episode that shines light on, hey, there's something wrong, and then eventually you get some sort of diagnosis. So that parasite could have been there for years, could have been the stress that just threw me into this crisis. So there was that parasite, and you see all these other inflammatory markers in red and yellow. The green says things look pretty good there. Moving on, still some other red inflammatory markers. Once again, inflammation is at the root of everything. Treat inflammation, your body should be in a better position to self-heal. The fasting elimination diet, here it is. Feel free to pause the video. I'll try and upload or provide a link from my Google Drive to this elimination diet food plan. There's many more pages to it. If you wish to try it, I strongly recommend it. The purpose of the elimination diet is to figure out if you have any food allergies. So I did not notice any food allergies, especially since I ate as clean as possible. I don't think there would be any from me. But once again, take a look for yourself, try it. I encourage everyone to do so. An example of what I would eat during this period, or any given day, honestly, it's still what I eat. When I wake up, half cup of chopped beets. I just dice them up, keep them in a Tupperware, eat roughly a half cup. Have some raw turmeric, just chew on the turmeric root, swish some water, swallow it. Take a swig of apple cider vinegar and 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. Breakfast, sometime shortly after, oatmeal, little maple syrup, and some berries, and I didn't put this on there, but cinnamon. And then 3 to 4 eggs, called an omelet with more garlic, Himalayan salt, or sea salt, but I don't even know where my sea salt is. I've just been doing Himalayan. Pepper, chopped greens. So chopped greens, I go to Whole Foods, buy every green that you can see for the most part, many varieties of kale, spinach. I even eat the leaves from carrots, the beet leaves, chard. What I do is I just have a food chopper, chop it all up. It's a process. And I just keep it in a container in the fridge that drains well so it doesn't get moist and start to spoil. And I add that to everything I can within reason. So eggs, Throw large heapings in there. It really cooks down. I try not to cook it, but with the eggs, it cooks a little bit. And I say I try not to cook it because when you cook it, it loses whatever you cook loses its nutrients. In the afternoon, I take fresh guacamole. I make it. Just cut up the avocado or take the skin off the avocado, mash it, and then I take those same chopped greens that I just mentioned, throw large heapings in there. It looks like you're throwing a ton, but once you mix it, it softens and doesn't look like much. Add some seasoning, salt, pepper, cayenne, and the one processed food I now eat would be Sieta chips. Buy those at Costco. And the reason I don't eat the traditional tortilla chip is because they all use compressed seed oils. And compressed seed oils are very, very inflammatory on the gut, on the brain, on the you name it. It's bad. Afternoon. So after I eat that, if I eat anything else, fresh fruit or raw vegetables, I may just eat some more beets. I may just eat a carrot. Um, Turmeric, more turmeric. What else? Whatever I have on hand, I just trying to add a little bit of variety. So instead of chips, eat some vegetables. I know it's hard when you're hungry to say, hey, I'm going to have a beet. I get it. Uh, but also remember the state you're in it's not a good state and mind over matter. So stop thinking, start doing. Those things are good for you, eat them. The chips are not, don't eat them. You're in a very serious, a pivotal moment in your life where it's bad. You got to commit. You can't be putting the garbage in. You got to put the good things, the things God gave us. God heals through nutrition. I think I'm a testament to that. Not saying the medicine didn't help. It certainly did help tamper down the symptoms. Um, but it sounds like a lot of you have struggled for a year plus, and I can't imagine. I was determined. I said this is not going to be my future. So eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, stop buying processed food, stop putting it in your mouth. Uh, it's garbage. So compressed seed oils, big no-no. Your goal is to get inflammation down throughout your body, in your gut, everywhere. When I did that, prior to doing this, I always had a lot of back aches. I sit at my desk all day. Neck aches, joints were crackly, pop my knuckles. Now none of that exists. My knuckles don't pop. My back doesn't hurt. My neck doesn't hurt. My inflammation, I believe, is pretty much gone. Sorry, evening. You might say, hey, you got a pretty boring diet. I get it, but I don't live to eat. I eat to live. So quinoa, chopped greens. I don't cook the greens. I cook the quinoa once it's done in the pot. Then I take large heapings of my chopped greens. I throw them in. It softens them. It doesn't cook them necessarily, and all the nutrients stay within. Um, and then I throw a protein on there: chicken, fish, beef. Beef is not bad for you, but you want to have grass-fed. Um, get from a local farmer, not a factory farm. Don't buy from the grocery store. If your beef is bright red, that has additives in it to make it look red and appealing and preserve it. Don't eat it. Your raw beef should be more brown than red. You don't want the grain fed because it's all GMO corn, and you are what you eat. That cow has that GMO in them. It's bad. And then of course you can flavor it if you want, Mexican style. You can throw some salsa in there, some cayenne. Um, just last night I threw a buffalo sauce in there. Flavor it how you want. If I eat anything else before bed, there's this nut granola mix. I think it's like coconut flakes, nuts. It's called New Trail Nut Granola Mix. Um, some organic whole milk or some almond milk, and it's tasty. I enjoy it. Um, or occasionally I found an organic popcorn that I've been eating. That's it. That's my diet. My bubble is in the way here. Cooking oils or fats. Fat is good. The brain needs fat, so we've been told fat is bad. Low fat diets. It's no wonder that there's a lot of brain function issues that our society is having. So get your fats. You want fat. Your body needs it. It's essential. Avocado oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee, all good. I'm probably missing one or two, but anytime you see safflower oil, sunflower oil, um, you name it, the seed oil, you do not want it. Excuse me. Resources that I found valuable during this. Here are a few. I'll link to them. Certainly recommend watching all of these, probably in this order. This guy's amazing on fasting. Watch him. And supplements, I recommend Global Healing. I can't find everything I want there, but I've known about the founder for many years. He makes a quality product. I was never big on supplements until now. I get what I can from this place. I have this. I don't think it's not going to share this. Oh, yeah, it is. Is it? I don't think you can see this. Anyhow, this is a link to a complete body cleanse. I haven't done it yet. Where is my loom? Okay. I haven't done it yet because the first supplement is magnesium. And as most of you know, that's one you're supposed to avoid in high doses because it, I guess, relaxes the muscles even further and could lead to a crisis. Now I think I'm perfectly fine to do it. Just haven't done it. I kind of want to do it once I get off the medicine because it's just a full detox program. You still eat while you do it, but there are certain foods that you eat, others that you do not eat. Perfectly capable of doing it now. But once again, I'd rather have the pharmaceuticals out of my system when I do it. I think it was like $700, so I don't feel like wasting it. I may do it once I get off the prednisone, but I'll still be on the CellCept. Final thoughts. I want to add. There's one more that I didn't include here, but let me add the link. In this slide. Okay. Let me open all. There's a 3-part docu-series that. Let me just add the one link. So I'm probably going to lose a good chunk of you here, but like I said, I firmly believe, and I would say I know for a fact, that vaccines should be avoided at all cost. I'm not saying they can't be good, but the ones given to us are not good. I strongly recommend all of you watch Plandemic series. It's a 3-part series. First one's short. It's about a woman named Dr. Judy Mikovits. Blew the whistle on Anthony Fauci a few decades back. She worked under him at the, I believe, NIH or NIAID on AIDS. Blew the whistle on him. She had her arrested, held without any charges at all, and then put under a 5-year gag order when she was finally released. You can hear her story in part 1. Part 2 happened early. It was released early in COVID. And part 3, I would say about a year ago, maybe a little less. But Plandemic series or just plandemic.com works as well. Part 2 is viewed over 1.5 billion times. I believe that is the most watched documentary in the world. Pretty amazing seeing how it had no uh, corporate media coverage at all, and it was censored across all social media. So if you have any doubts about what happened during what we're told is a pandemic, please watch that. I don't know what else to say. Um, I know you've all seen people say that their symptoms onset post-vaccination. I did not get the vaccine, um, yet I still got this condition. So um, that is that. Let me think here. I don't know, this is the only video I've ever made. I will try and make more status updates. I hope that whoever watches this can maybe find some inspiration to take control of their life and not wait for their next doctor's appointment. I'm thankful for the Myasthenia Gravis doctor that I have. I like him, and I think he has helped. I think he's very good. And it sounds like many people out there have neurologists that don't understand the condition. So I'm not a fan of medicine, but I appreciate what has been done for me by my doctor, and I am equally grateful for the functional health route that I took. I understand not everyone can afford uh, to pay out of pocket like I did. It was 6,000 for the year, and there's other expenses involved. I also am very fortunate that I basically didn't work for many months. I worked very minimal. Many days I didn't work at all. Other days I worked an hour or two. I'm just in a position where I can do that, and I know most of you probably cannot. And so I sympathize. That's got to be very stressful, especially if you have kids. I have two. Thankfully, I have a supportive wife, supportive family, supportive business partners. So my thoughts and prayers are out there for all of you. And please do what I did. I believe you will see similar results. If you are vaccine injured, I don't know. I don't know if this will get you to the state I'm in, uh, but certainly worth a try. Certainly worth a try. So I'd love to hear from all of you. If anyone even watches this video, um, and maybe I can meet others who I know I have met others who achieved what I have achieved through the Facebook groups. So maybe I can talk to them. Maybe you want to share your story, what you did, and we can publish that. All right, that's all I have. Good luck.